My name is Rory Gibson, student number 33291156, and this is my Children of Men making of DVD. I am a disco! In this video project, I was one half of the sound design team. Because the role was so big, it was split into two sections between myself and Nick D. I took responsibility for all the vehicle noises ranging from jeeps to tanks, and all the explosion noises too. Nick was responsible for all the guns and ricochets in the video.
It's my desire! It's my desire! It's my desire!
When explosion sounds are needed in big budget films, the sound designers are lucky enough to have the facilities to create real explosions and simply record the sound. For a university student, on the other hand, this is much more difficult. The sounds cannot just be recorded, they have to be made a different way. Here is a short video showing you how the explosion sounds in the video were made. First thing you do is open up Audacity and generate some white noise. And then apply the fade out effect like so. Once that is done, you copy the track and paste it as many times as you want. I went 5 times. You select the track and then you choose the change speed option. Now, the more you slow down the audio, the lower in pitch it's going to become, and depending on what kind of explosion you're going for, depends on how much you want to slow it down. So I went for about 50% on my first one. You do that to all the rest of the tracks and you trim them at the ends to the same length as your original white noise sample, and then when that's done it will come out looking like this. So then you select all the tracks like so, and you then once again apply the fade out effect onto them. Once that is done, you then go to mix and render, which merges all the tracks into one single track. Once that is done, you save it as a WAV file and then load it into Logic, and I'm going to show you what to do with it in Logic now. Now that we're in Logic, I'm going to show you some of the processes that I went through to create the final explosion sounds. Firstly, a channel EQ was applied to raise some of the low frequencies and the high frequencies, but also duck certain frequencies to achieve the desired sound. A reverb unit was added to make the sound feel more natural and to fit the space it was in. Finally, a limiter was added to make sure that the final sound didn't clip when placed into the video. In comparison to explosions, vehicle noises are much easier to accurately recreate. For the vehicles in the video, a selection of cars, buses and heavy goods vehicles were recorded. Here is a quick video to show how the noises for jeeps and tanks were made. To create the sounds of the Jeep and ATV, multiple different sounds have been loaded into Logic, layered and synchronized with the video. Also, automation has been used to make sure the sounds faded in and faded out properly as the vehicles appeared on the screen. With the tank seen here, sections of the sounds have been cut and duplicated to extend the length of the sound clip to make the audio in time with the video. Once again, automation has been applied to make the sounds seem more natural and fitting with the video. As well as creating all my sounds, I also helped Nick record some of his gun sounds. With both our inputs, we still struggled to come up with a way of creating a genuine gun sound. Guns are hard to recreate because they are such a recognisable sound, and with that in mind, we began thinking of the best way to record it. In the end, Nick was lucky enough to be able to afford a blank firing replica handgun which he bought online. Once we had the gun, we went to the nearest firing range to fire a couple of shots and record the sound. Because the firing range only had a licence for .22 caliber rifles, and our handgun, even though it fired blanks, still took 4mm rounds, meaning we had to first call them up and make sure it would have been okay to fire it there. Here is a video of the gun being fired by Nick, and also one of the regulars, from the firing range. Looking back on this project, the only things I would have liked to have changed are that I wish I could have had more input with the gun sounds. Even though they weren't my main concern, they still fall under my role in this project. The guns are effective and tight in the video, but I feel they could have been improved if 2 people worked on them instead of just 1. Also, looking back, I would have chosen a video clip that was easier to work with because even though the video is full of variation, the fact that the main aspects of the video are explosions and guns made it very difficult to recreate those sounds accurately to a professional level.